Hello, Professor Renton. It's nice to make your YouTube acquaintance. And I hope you don't mind that I am going to be uh, using this image of you over here for some clips from your video. I think it's a fair use thing, and in the spirit of academic uh, uh, style, if not strictly, I'm using it that way. If you object, then I will not do that in the future. And if you wanted this taken down, I do that too. But I really wish I wouldn't have to do that. So I guess I could, clip just my face out or something and re-upload it. Anyway, I'm pretty sure you won't mind. So I'm going to go through some clips from your video. I did like it. Thank you very much. Very stimulating. And as I said, I'm pleased to make your acquaintance. So let's start off at the top from the first few seconds.
Where and when are words? I realize this doesn't probably sound like the most intelligible question at first pass, but I want to ask you again. Where and when are words?
Okay, where and when are words? Words are always in a material medium, and so they are material because things that are made up of material are material. A church is material in that it's a building there. The idea of a church requires a human mind. Yes, I know that whole aspect, but the mind is material as well. So the church is a feature both of the church that's been built and its reflection in a system with the brain that is observing and perceiving and conceiving of it. So okay, now we go up. Let's see how this works. It looks like it's going to work well, but let's see. Okay, 54 seconds.
World. Information is the hardest to guard because it can be stolen without removing it. This is going in the right direction. Yes, words are not in space and time.
Okay, I cut off some of that, but I think the gist is in there that it's hard to steal information because it's weird or something because you don't actually have to take it. But you're not stealing information when you copy it. That's why the information wants to be free. People believe as they do, because they know that if you know technically how this is happening, there is no theft. If I go into a museum and there's the Mona Lisa there, and I draw my own version of the Mona Lisa, that I haven't stolen the Mona Lisa. I made my own copy. I did not steal the Mona Lisa. So I think that's pretty much that. Okay.
They're not subject to entropy in the way that the rest of the physical thermodynamic world is.
Okay, now there I disagree, because they are. If you have the words on a piece of paper, that piece of paper is subject to entropy, and they will decay over time. And the only way you can prevent that is by making new copies, which again is not really a transference. We abstract it. We model it as a transference because it makes certain kind of analytical deductions possible. So we model it as though something's transferring. Just like on the internet, we model it as though a message is actually sent from your computer to my computer. But what's really going on is your computer talks to another computer and says, make a copy of this message. And it does, and so on and so forth, until a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy gets to me. And of course, there's techniques of fidelity to do this really well digitally, but there's still entropy and quantum mechanics and all kinds of elements of decay in that. And the way that's solved in a digital network is that you have checksums and way of seeing if you got the bits all correct. And if you detect that you didn't, then you ask for it again. Okay, the next one should be, let's see, we're at 116, so now I go to 122. Okay.
One of the exercises I sometimes do with students is I will take all of the students and I will select a row from class, and I will have each of the students in that row say the name Alfred Korzybski. So one student will say it, and another student will say it, and another student will say it, and pretty soon about 8 students have said the name Alfred Korzybski. When they've done that, it's different rates, different pitches, different people spoke at different times. There's a sequential order. There's so many differences. And despite all of that, the same word was said. How is that possible? Where is the sameness of that word?
Okay, my answer to that is that the words are not the same. In particular, we adopt the illusion that that they are all the same to make a lot of analytic truths completable. Okay, we discovered that even so, we don't have as much completability as we'd like, but the words each of those speakers spoke are all different because each one of those speakers means a slightly different thing, okay, by that word. And only by ignoring the details of these differences do we, do we pretend this is not immaterial. And in reality, what we're dealing with is the overlap. If each one of the speakers means something slightly different, and but there is some overlap, and so that's a safe area of intersection. And the greater that area of intersection, then the more understanding. The smaller the intersection, then the less understanding. If two people have a very different idea of a word, then there's less understanding when one of them uses it. So there is no sameness. There's no sameness in the sense that the word is the same over time. It never means exactly the same thing. When different people say it, it never even means exactly the same thing when the same person says it over and over.
This is what Nietzsche means when Nietzsche says that a word is a lie. Yes, it's a principle of repeatability.
Okay, actually, this is interesting. What I think Nietzsche means with that is that we are ignoring the details. That's what he meant. He's talking about what I was just saying, that, and I think I was influenced by Nietzsche in this, that, words, when we use a word, we are saying something that is essentially our idea of it. That's what we're referring to when we say the word. The word is the symbol for the idea of it. And so we are thinking of something in in idealized form, the form of our idea that we use as an epitome, as a pattern against which we check for, similar shapes in the real world. And we're ignoring many details intentionally, both intentionally and unavoidably. And I think that's what Nietzsche means, is that it's a lie because we are pretending that the word fits better than it does. Of course, we can overcome this by realizing that that's what we're doing. And being careful, because sometimes it matters. Sometimes the details somebody has ignored matter in certain problems, and other problems they don't. It's like the relativistic effects don't matter when you're driving cross country, okay, but they do matter when you're traveling in, interstellarly or whatever. I was going to say that they matter in when you travel in the solar system in space, but that's it depends still, of course. Okay, so we're 209. Next thing, yeah, more.
When Kenneth Burke, in Rhetoric of Religion, tries to describe, or I think very well describes, words as a kind of spiritual transcendence, this is what he's trying to get us to understand. That word users, humans, we're not in space and time the way that other things are. We're gathering.
Okay, this is, with all due respect, Professor Wren, this is the noxious effect of this line of thinking, placing human beings out of space and time. We can have spiritual experiences, thinking deep thoughts about deep things like the essence of ideas or words. That's great. Until we deify, make it metaphysical, and then use that as some sort of a justification to bring us metaphysical, and then suddenly we're metaphysical again. We're beyond space and time, which is what I mean by metaphysical. But forget that word. Beyond space and time. We're somehow otherworldly and extra special. That is what bugs me. Okay, that bothers me.